Hello everyone, welcome to another story by The Teacup. My husband always takes the opportunity to fly abroad for half-month vacations. Every time, I feel reluctant to let him go. But this time, something unusual happened. My company, which had never sent office staff on business trips before, made an exception. They specifically requested that I travel overseas to handle some work. I was ecstatic. After all, my husband often traveled to that country for work, and as luck would have it, he was already there. Sitting on the plane, my heart fluttered with excitement, thinking how surprised he would be to see me. "What are you daydreaming about?" "Look at the client list," my coworker said, handing me a paper. I glanced at it, and immediately froze. My husband's name, Daniel Gray, was right there on the client list, and next to it, in the notes section, was a woman's name. My coworker leaned over and added, "That's CEO Daniel and his wife. They're really sweet together and have a 7-year-old daughter. Remember to prepare 3 gifts." I thought there must be some mistake. My husband is a firm believer in not having kids. He hates children. And yet when we arrived at the client's place, I saw him, carefully adjusting the hem of another woman's dress. Next to them, a little girl ran up and greeted us sweetly. Her face was unmistakably a younger version of Daniel's. I stood rooted to the spot. The same Daniel who was cold and sharp with me at home, could actually be this gentle and attentive? The man who claimed to hate kids, was it just my child he would have hated? "What are you doing standing there?" my coworker nudged me from behind. "This is CEO Daniel and his wife. Come on, give them the gifts." When Daniel saw me, he looked visibly shaken and quickly pulled his hand away from the woman. But she wasn't flustered at all. Instead, she elegantly curved her lips into a smile and extended her hand toward me. "So you must be Rachel White, right? I've heard a lot about you." I stared at her, speechless. She knew who I was. And yet, she still had the nerve to come abroad with my husband and pretend to be his wife. Daniel and I had known each other since college. From acquaintances to friends, from lovers to husband and wife, it had been 8 full years. We had even surpassed that so-called 7-year itch. Our family backgrounds couldn't be more different. People always assumed I had married Daniel for money. That's why I worked myself to the bone all these years, fighting for every promotion, earning every dollar on my own. I had never taken a cent from him. I loved him. And I truly believed he loved me too. But after 8 years of marriage, I never imagined that my husband would have another wife abroad, and a daughter who was already 7 years old. Before, I didn't think much of his frequent business trips and vacations. Now, everything made sense. All those trips, what were they really for? He said he hated kids. But clearly, he's had a child for years. Before he left for this trip, he held me in his arms and promised a surprise when he returned. I let out a bitter laugh. Was it a surprise, or a betrayal? Even the employees at his company didn't bother with the courtesy of a handshake. Daniel Gray cleared his throat and turned away, his voice distant and cold. Just one sentence from him, and he cut off everything we had. My coworker widened her eyes at me in shock, then quickly grabbed my hand with a forced smile and placed it into that other woman's. "Sorry," she said awkwardly. It's her first business trip, she's still a little shy. Reality hit me hard. My hand throbbed from the grip of the woman, his other wife. I'd arrived too suddenly. But she kept smiling as if nothing was wrong. "I've heard a lot about you from Daniel," she said sweetly. "It's an honor to finally meet. You're not ordinary, just as I expected." Her words were laced with mockery. It was clear now, the reason I had been handpicked by my company for this trip was because she orchestrated it. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. Then I pulled my hand away with all the strength I could muster. This trip was meant to persuade CEO Daniel Gray to return to the US and finalize a contract. My coworker beside me kept chiming in to lighten the mood. I forced myself not to look at Daniel, his now unfamiliar face. After all, I didn't want to make a scene in front of my team. We had worked so hard for this deal, and everyone was hoping for a bonus after 2 exhausting months. The woman smiled confidently as she signed the documents, her tone light but smug. "I'll remind Daniel about it later." Her eyes held the arrogant glow of a victor. "And Daniel?" From start to finish, he said nothing. He occasionally rubbed his nose, a habit I knew all too well. He always did that when he lied. Like when he used to sneak cigarettes behind my back. I didn't want to think anymore. But my heart still throbbed with pain. I stood motionless like a block of wood until we left the estate. Only then did my coworker pull me into the car to return to the hotel. As soon as I stepped into the room, my phone rang. It was Daniel. I didn't waste time. "Daniel," I said coldly. "When exactly did we get divorced, because I must have missed that part." There was silence on the other end for a few seconds. Then his voice came, calm and eerily composed. "Rachel. I love you. I was just afraid you'd leave me if I told you." The child, it wasn't planned. I laughed, out of fury. He was the one who insisted on a child-free life. I respected that. And now, there's a 7-year-old out there, and he still claims to love me? 3 years of dating. 8 years of marriage. 11 years together. Yeah. It's time to end it. He said he was afraid of losing me. So he had a child with someone else, and kept it hidden? Even I was surprised by how cold my voice had become. But Daniel merely responded dismissively. "Is something so small really worth making a fuss over? I'll have my parents talk to you." Sure enough, not long after, my phone rang again. His mother's voice blasted through the speaker. "What are you throwing a tantrum for? You've been married for years and still can't even give us a child." Then came his father. "If you can't give birth, then let the little girl come live with us. The house needs some joy." I let out a bitter laugh. "Do you mean for me and Daniel to raise her in our home? Or for him and his legal wife overseas to care for you in your old age?" The other end went completely silent. They probably didn't expect me to talk back. All these years, I'd always kept my head down, afraid that even one wrong word would displease my in-laws. I worked like crazy, trying to win over his mother, trying to prove I wasn't with Daniel for money. I never complained, not once. And what did 8 years of patience get me? A 7-year-old illegitimate child. Eventually, his mother dropped all pretense. "If you don't know your place, I'll have my son divorce you and marry someone better. Your family has nothing. Getting into our family was already the biggest blessing your ancestors ever got. Don't push your luck." So, they all knew. I was the only fool still clinging to hope. Every holiday, I'd personally pick out gifts. I took care of them when they were sick. I cooked every time Daniel went away on business. I thought genuine love would eventually be recognized. But to them, I was always just an outsider. I didn't cry. I calmly said, "Let's divorce." Then I hung up. For the first time, I faced his mother without fear. I called my lawyer and asked him to start preparing the divorce papers. That night, I stood quietly by the hotel window, eyes hollow. Memories flooded back, from the day we met, the passion, the arguments, the way we pushed through the 7-year itch, and Daniel's growing indifference. I used to believe that with enough patience, we could make it to the end. But now I see. I was the only one trying. The next morning, I boarded a flight back to the US. I didn't expect to see her again on the same flight. The woman Daniel was with overseas, along with their daughter. She walked over, took off her sunglasses, and smiled provocatively. "Miss Rachel White, what a coincidence." I replied coldly. "You're the one who inserted yourself into my marriage. We're not acquaintances." The little girl suddenly piped up. "No. You're the mistress. You're the bad lady." My hand clenched instinctively, but I forced myself to calm down. "She's just a child, innocent." The woman let out a mocking laugh. In love, the one who's not loved is the other woman, isn't that right? I felt sick to my stomach. She continued. We love each other deeply. We have a beautiful daughter. And you? No one even loves you. I glared at her, furious, but speechless. Every word from her was like a knife to my dignity, my self-worth. You really thought Daniel didn't want kids, she smirked. No. He only lied because your jealousy made it impossible. You worked all those years thinking you were so accomplished, so impressive. But really, you never even crossed the starting line. Take a good look at yourself, she sneered. You were never good enough for Daniel, not in background, not in education, not in elegance, and definitely not in looks. We're not on the same level. Even if you wear expensive perfume, the stench of poverty in your blood still seeps through. So that's what it was. Daniel and his entire family had always looked down on me. His refusal to have children, it wasn't about not wanting kids. He just didn't want them with me. Then why did he come into my life in the first place? My hands trembled in rage, my voice cracked. You were all born at the top of the tower, but your hearts are as filthy as the sewers. A flight attendant passed by and reminded her to return to her seat. But before leaving, she leaned in close, smug smile and all. Oh, and by the way, Daniel? He doesn't own anything anymore. Her voice was a whisper, full of poison. The villa overseas? It's in my name. When I got off the plane, the divorce agreement was already waiting in my inbox, sent over by my attorney. I forwarded it to Daniel without hesitation. He called back, voice filled with irritation. Are you satisfied now? Was all this really necessary? I didn't respond. Instead, I took a cab straight to his house. And there they were, his little happy family. Daniel was hugging the girl. That woman, Rebecca, walked beside them with a gentle smile. It was the picture of domestic bliss. It felt like someone had rubbed salt straight into my chest. When the little girl spotted me, she immediately pointed and screamed. She's the bad lady trying to steal my daddy. Get her out of here. Daniel didn't miss a beat. Who are you? You have no right to be here. Leave, don't upset my little princess. Even his father joined in. Get out. You're bad luck, you're making my granddaughter upset. I stood frozen. The world had flipped. The man I once called husband. The people I once called family. Now they were united, casting me out like an intruder. Rebecca stood smugly on the side, arms crossed, watching me drown in their humiliation. I glanced around and spotted the box of supplements I had sent them last month, still unopened, damp and rotting in a corner of the porch. The small garden I had once planted with my own hands? Now full of fruit, but no one had bothered to pick it. The crops had fallen and rotted into the soil. My gaze shifted to Daniel's hand. He was still wearing his wedding ring, but it no longer matched mine. I pulled out the divorce agreement and held it out to him, my voice cutting in cold. Sign it. Once you do, you can wear a new ring proudly. His parents cursed me from behind, yelling at me to leave. Rebecca feigned surprise. Oh? I didn't expect her to be so cooperative. Daniel didn't say a word, his expression conflicted, perhaps remembering the past. I shoved the papers toward him again. According to postmarital terms, the car and the house go to me. If you don't sign, we'll settle it in court. He hesitated for a moment, then signed. I took the papers back, feeling an unexpected lightness in my chest. When I returned to my apartment, I sat there staring at the divorce decree, heart strangely still. Years of sacrifice, of trying to prove I belonged. In the end, it all led to one thing, a betrayal drenched in cruelty. I picked up the phone and called my parents. My dad's voice answered cheerfully, mixed with the clatter of vendors at the farmer's market. Sweetheart, you're home, my dad's voice greeted me warmly on the phone. I couldn't hold back my frustration. Dad, I've been sending money so you and Mom can rest, not haul heavy goods around the market. But they just laughed gently. We've done farm work all our lives. Sitting idle only makes us restless and sick. Tears welled in my eyes. Dad. Mom. I'm divorced now. There was silence on the line, then suddenly, my dad snapped. That bastard hurt you, didn't he? I'll come up there and give him a piece of my mind. Hearing my parents defend me like that, I couldn't stop crying. Don't worry, I said, choking back tears. I'm okay now. The house, the car, they're all in my name. My mom's voice trembled. He didn't know what he had. That's on him. And my dad added firmly. Come home, sweetheart. You'll always have us. I wiped my tears and smiled. Yes. I'll come visit you tomorrow. No, they both replied gently. We'll come to you. Their familiar voices filled me with warmth. Even if the world turned its back on me, I still had a place to return to. After the call, I lay on my bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling. My mind was a tangled mess of memories, the joy, the pain, the anger, the letting go. Everything replayed like a slow-motion film. I finally accepted it. This marriage, it was truly over. For better or worse, it was done. Now, it was time to look ahead. To begin my new life. But I never expected what would happen the next day. I had just gotten a call from Mom and immediately ran out the gates of my neighborhood. That's when I saw it. A security guard was grabbing my father by the collar, shouting. Old man, when I say get out, I mean get out. My mom stood nearby, crying, pounding on the guard's shoulder. Only to be shoved harshly to the ground. My father's hand was scraped and bleeding. The farm fresh eggs he brought were shattered across the pavement. The vegetables, crushed under dirty shoes. And standing there, completely unfazed, was Rebecca, sunglasses on, adjusting her designer dress, looking thoroughly annoyed. Really now, she scoffed. They let just anyone in here? Do you people even know where you are? How can trash like you even step foot into a place like this? Security, get them out. Now. At her command, the guard started dragging my father toward the gate. My blood boiled. Stop. I shot forward like a bullet, shoving the guard off with all my strength. What the hell do you think you're doing? I shouted. You have no right to lay a hand on him. The guard stumbled back, furious. They trespassed into a restricted area and dirted the entrance. My eyes were blazing red with fury. Are you kidding me? Do you know how much I pay in HOA fees every year? And you're telling me you can't even clean up a few broken eggs and greens? Then I turned to face Rebecca, my voice cold as steel. And you, who the hell do you think you are? What gives you the right to command security to throw my father out? What? Got a little money and now you think you're a queen? Rebecca adjusted her dress and shot me a look full of contempt. Oh, I thought it might be someone important. Turns out it's just you. This is a luxury community, and people like you live here? Then again, I shouldn't be surprised. Your relatives look just as tacky and backwater as you do. I was shaking with rage. Rebecca, don't cross the line. My parents were just here to visit me. What right do you have to treat them this way? She scoffed, her voice dripping with mockery. Well, the moment I stepped through the gate, their ragged little bag brushed against my dress. I lost my temper a little. So what? I clenched my jaw, pointing at the bag lying on the ground. Open your damn eyes. That's not trash. That's fresh eggs and vegetables my parents brought from their farm, for me. If your dress is dirty, I'll replace it. But you're not even a registered resident here, are you? Whose household are you claiming to be part of? If anyone's getting kicked out, it should be you. Rebecca didn't even flinch. She casually flipped her hair and smirked. Rachel White, the divorce agreement hasn't taken effect yet, has it? This house? Daniel still owns half. I'm just here to pick up some of his things. What's the problem? I actually laughed from disbelief. Rebecca, let's get this straight. The deed is in my name only. You have no right to come in here and take anything. But she didn't care. She completely ignored my words. At that moment, a group of building managers from the community office arrived. Excuse me, what seems to be the issue here? One of them asked. I immediately explained the situation in detail, from beginning to end. After hearing me out, the manager turned to Rebecca, his brow furrowed. Ma'am, are you a resident of this community? Or do you have a guest pass from a verified resident? Rebecca's face stiffened, but she still tried to talk her way out. I'm a friend of Daniel Gray. He asked me to come get his things. The manager shook his head. I'm sorry, but there's no one by the name Daniel Gray in our resident database. Without proper authorization, I'm afraid we cannot allow you to stay. She tried to argue again, but by then, 2 uniformed guards had arrived and politely escorted her out. I watched her walk away in defeat, her proud posture now trembling with embarrassment. But even then, my anger didn't subside. My father stepped closer, voice hesitant. Rachel, are you okay? We just wanted to visit you, he said quietly. We didn't mean to cause a scene. I looked at their weathered, aging faces, and my heart broke all over again. I'm sorry, Dad. Mom. I'm so sorry you had to go through this. My mother gently patted my hand and sighed. As long as you're safe, that's all that matters. Still, it's a shame about the eggs. Your dad just gathered them from the coop this morning. My throat tightened. I crouched down, picking up the unbroken eggs from the pavement, forcing a small smile. Come on. Let's go home. I'll make sunny-side-up eggs for you both. Their faces were still shadowed with worry as they silently followed me inside. I knew they were hurting for me. Back home, I did my best to lift their spirits. I chatted, joked, and tried to create a warm, peaceful atmosphere. I slipped into the kitchen and prepared a full table of delicious dishes, hoping that one comforting meal might erase the bitterness of the day. But my parents just sat quietly on the couch. They didn't say a word throughout the entire dinner. And when they did whisper to each other, it was only in hushed, anxious tones. During dinner, I tried to break the silence. Dad, Mom, please eat more. They forced a faint smile, but the table remained heavy with silence and tension. Not a word was exchanged. Just quiet chewing and a sense of unease. After the meal, I gently led my parents to sit on the couch. I had made a decision, I would tell them everything. Mom, Dad. I know you're worried about me. But please believe me. I can handle this. They looked at me, eyes filled with sorrow. I took a deep breath and told them everything that had happened these past few months. By the time I finished, they were both furious and heartbroken. Sweetheart, just get divorced, my dad said, his fists trembling with rage. People like that, we want nothing to do with them. My daughter deserves so much better, he added, slamming his hand on the table. My mom pulled me into a tight hug, eyes glistening with tears. That's right. Our daughter is smart and kind. She will find someone who truly deserves her. Wrapped in their embrace, I felt something warm spread through me, like sunlight breaking through clouds. The pain inside me slowly started to lift. I wiped away my tears and smiled. Thank you, for always standing by me. But deep down, beneath the warmth, beneath the tears, something else had taken root. Hatred. A fire that refused to die. Rebecca, the humiliation my parents suffered today, I will make you pay for it. Twice over. After sending my parents off, I returned inside, grabbed the divorce agreement, and tore it to shreds. At first, I just wanted to end things quickly and move on. But now? Now I wasn't going to let them off the hook so easily. I immediately contacted my lawyer and the press. I was going to sue Daniel Gray for bigamy. And I would destroy Rebecca's name, reputation, and career. her daughter? She would grow up forever branded as the child of an affair. On the day of the hearing, as I approached the courthouse, Daniel suddenly grabbed me by the arm. "Rachel, what the hell are you doing?" he snapped. "I signed the divorce papers. Isn't that enough?" I coldly yanked my arm away. My gaze shifted to the crowd behind him, where Rebecca was covering her face, dodging the paparazzi's cameras. "You shouldn't be asking me that," I said sharply. "Go ask your lovely wife what she did to my parents." Daniel knew how much I loved and protected my family. Hearing that, he immediately spun around and grabbed Rebecca's arm, furious. "What the hell did you do?" he demanded. "This was supposed to be over with one signature. Why did you have to turn it into a damn scandal?" "I don't care what you do," he continued. "But right now, you will go apologize to Rachel's parents." "Now." Rebecca stumbled, panicked. "You've lost your mind. You expect me to apologize to that bunch of hillbillies? Keep dreaming." Slap. Daniel slapped her so hard, it echoed through the courthouse steps. "Do you have any idea what'll happen if this goes public?" he growled. "Do you know how far the Gray and Turner family stock will plummet?" Rebecca clutched her cheek in disbelief, eyes wide. "You hit me? My father will ruin you for this." "Daniel Gray, you bastard." Around us, the crowd of reporters went wild. Cameras clicked non-stop. Flashes exploded like fireworks. That slap from Daniel Gray turned their entire scandal into the hottest headline across every major news outlet. And Daniel? He didn't show a trace of regret. His voice was ice cold. "Don't worry about me. You should be worrying about begging your father not to kick you out of the house." He took a deep breath and turned to me, his eyes filled with conflicting emotions. "Rachel, I know I wronged you. But the child, she's innocent. Please, don't let the media drag her into this mess." I looked at him, and almost laughed. "Innocent? They're innocent? Then what about my parents? Do they deserve to be humiliated?" I replied, voice calm but cutting. "Daniel, I wasn't going to drag the child into this. Not at first. But what about my parents? What did they do to deserve that kind of shame?" He opened his mouth to respond, but the judge's gavel slammed down, silencing the courtroom. The trial had begun. And for the sake of my parents, and my dignity, I had to go through with it. Behind the scenes, I invested heavily in boosting trending keywords across social media, ensuring this scandal stayed ablaze. And it worked. The story went viral within days. The Gray and Turner family stocks plummeted, sending shockwaves through the business world. Rebecca? She was dragged through the mud by the internet, called every name imaginable. The elite circle she once bragged about being part of? Now they were the ones calling her a disgrace. No one wanted to associate with her. In public, people recognized her and spit in her face. Slut. Homewrecker. Mistress trash. As for Daniel Gray, he was sentenced to 2 years in prison for bigamy. And their child? Her identity was exposed by the media. At school, her classmates called her a love child, ridiculed her mother as a mistress. Eventually, the prestigious private school they were so proud of kicked her out. They had to hire private tutors instead. Yes, the child was innocent. But what about my father? Just because his mesh grocery bag accidentally brushed against Rebecca's designer dress, which didn't even have a visible scratch, he was manhandled by a 20-something guard and called a disrespectful old man. Was he not innocent? What about my mother? She picked those farm-fresh eggs and vegetables with her own hands. All of it, smashed under someone's feet like garbage. They came to the city just to comfort their recently divorced daughter. Was that a crime? Then, one day, I got a message. From Rebecca. "Rachel. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have looked down on your parents. Please, let us go." I let out a cold laugh. And typed each word with care. I told you before, money isn't everything. I turned off my phone, ignoring the barrage of desperate messages that followed. Looking out the window, I saw the morning sun rising slowly on the horizon. And in that moment, I knew. As long as I keep walking forward with strength, a brighter future will come. Thank you all for staying with me through this story.